as you can see, I've been kidnapped. But it's okay. It's not, he's not a murderer and he doesn't work for hummus, a terrorist organization that has the name of a delicious food, a Middle Eastern food. No, he's just a little shy.
Yeah.
See, he radiates such handsomeness that he overwhelms the women's. And if I was on the screen with just him and me, people would be looking to him and not drawn upon me. Look at those eyes. Those are the eyes of an angel.
Too dangerous.
It's too dangerous. The women go crazy. Oh. Anyway, we're gonna do a dialogue, and if we can hear through his mask, because he's a soft talker. He's a soft talking man. Yes, he is. Okay, you ask me anything about the world.
Right. So on the front page of the New York Post, yeah, we're talking about some tragic and full screen legend. You can see them.
Yeah, that's Gene Hackman, a legend, an old legend. He was 95 years old. I didn't realize that. He was a star of my childhood. This young man, I'll give you his identity. He's a young man who didn't know who Hackman was. He thought it was a broad who died. I said, "How dare you not know who Gene Hackman was? He was one of the greatest men in the world, one of the great actors. I loved him so."
That's like just something.
And he died very mysteriously. They found his body mummified with his wife, who was a beautiful Asian woman, was 65 years old, my age.
I could take a look.
You want to take a look? Look at that. Oh yeah. It's just terrible. And he was in The Unforgiven, and his first movie was The French Connection. I saw that when I was 12, and now I'm 65, and it holds up. Anyway, that was Gene Hackman. Do you have any more questions, terrorist looking guy?
This doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I don't know how he died.
I think it was foul play. I think they killed the dog too. The dog was mummified too. I think
Oh.
terrorists, they want to show their power.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so they kill people just for the fun of it. And then they mummify them.
Mm.
Yeah. Because actually it was the weather in New Mexico. It may be one of the cartels.
Oh,
Yeah, the Mexican cartels.
dangerous.
You know, dangerous people, bad people. See, they'll kill your family. They'll kill the dog. They will kill the dog.
Why the dog? Not the dog. Leave the dog.
Leave the dog alone. The dog didn't do nothing to you. It was a little doggy. Yet you killed him. The mafia, the American mafia, the American Italian mafia wouldn't kill doggies, and they wouldn't kill the family. They'd just kill you. They had integrity. They'd lure you into a bar and say, "Hey, let's get together, have some buzul," because that's what they eat. And they go there, and you go to the bar, and hey, those things. So boom, you get an ice pick in the neck. But they do it in a humane way. They do it, you don't know what's happening. They just go, pow.
Right.
Now, your Mexican mafia, not so nice. They might torch you. Oh, Mexican mafia. Once you went after a puppy, you went too far. You're going to have the 82nd Airborne up your butt.
It's like a war. Yeah.
It's going to be a war. Exactly.
Actually,
Yeah.
a war, yeah, man.
Now, I don't look down on my friend because he's shy and he looks like he's part of a terrorist organization. Yeah, just take it, and I'm doing the comedy thing. All right. See, I would have him come here, but they suspect
That was
that was
no, that's the second-hand man over there.
yeah,
You know? He's
the,
watching the door.
he went to the door. I have people coming up. They have bedtime.
Yeah.
You know what they have? They have bedtime. That's what my Italian family would say. These people, the timing is wrong.
It's wrong, man. To be dead already.
I could be dead. Yeah. Anyway, this is what I gotta tell you.
Sorry.
Now, I want, we have to interact. I am an improvisationist, the genius of improvisation. And I want you to ask any question about any subject.
Any subject. Okay. Let's see. So you know how the war is, Trump and all that. But now they saying in the newspaper it says, speaking his mind. VP Vance Needle, British PM on freedom. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. See, they don't have freedom of speech in Europe. See, we're defending them, right?
Right.
And then and say if you were against the abortion, right?
Right.
And you pray in the other side of the street, they could arrest you.
Mm.
And so you do it and you speak about it against the politician, and the politician is of a different gender orientation, a negative way, they can arrest you. You can go right to your house.
Mm.
See, in America, we have freedom of speech. That's our gamble. That you
Right.
can have freedom of speech. Everybody speaks their mind, even if you don't like what they're saying. But then, you know who ruined everything?
Who?
Hillary Clinton, because they brought in something called hate speech.
Mm.
Now, define hate speech. I could say that I hate guys who dress like homeless terrorists.
Whoa, whoa. Be careful what you say.
I could say that, and
Say-
I'm arrested them. They put the jail stuff on me.
Right.
I could say I hate Bonnie the Crypt Keeper.
Mm.
I get arrested because it's elder abuse, even though I'm an elder myself.
Mm.
See, that's you never screw with freedom of speech at all, unless it's action. If I said, "Hey, kill the guy with the mask," that's wrong.
That's
If
right there, yeah.
If I say the guy in the mask stinks, that's not wrong. That's I could say anything I want.
It's an opinion, you know?
It's your opinion, hey. Now, what our vice president, our noble vice president, was saying, he's a Catholic, and they're prosecuting Catholics and people of religion in Europe.
Right.
Meanwhile, they want us to defend themselves. Now, this is leading into the whole Ukrainian thing. Now, I'm going to tell you about the Ukrainians. I'm going to tell you straight, and it's not going to be popular.
Show a little picture you want
Dude, there's a
have an idea.
there you go. And they had the argument. They said things out loud.
Right.
This is the story of the Ukraine. This may take a little time, but it's worth it, and we can always erase.
Right.
Ukraine used to be the original settlers of Russia. They came across all the barren land, right?
Right.
And they were originally Vikings, little blonde guys like me. I used to be blonde. Anyway, they settled there in Kiev. They set up their campment, and they're mixed in now with the tribes that were going across. So they're Slavics now, right?
Mhm.
Okay. But they're still good looking broads, let me tell you. Whoa. Anyway, they go there, but the other Russians, and they're all at that point called Russ, they say, look, you're right next to Turkey. The empire that could be attacked, the Mongols come down, everybody. It's a strategically bad area to be in.
Mhm.
Now, it's the only place in all of of Russia that has fertile land. It has wheat and barley. It's like the breadbasket of Russia.
Mm.
Okay. So we got that going there. So they convinced the Ukrainians to put the capital, in Moscow or Leningrad, and as far away as they can be, and they turn the Ukraine into the boondocks.
It's horrible.
Terrible. And then from being up here, you're down here, and also you're still next to Turkey and all these Muslims that don't like the Catholics.
Right.
So anyway, or the Orthodox Russian, Christians. Okay, we got that. Now that's ancient history, right?
Mhm.
Ancient history. But then when the communists came into power, what they did was they wanted to have, and Stalin was a lunatic. He was not, but a clever lunatic.
Mm.
What he did was he said to the Ukrainians, "You're going to be what you call collective farming."
Mm.
Now that's wrong because the guys in Moscow, they don't know how to do farming. So they said put all the pigs together so there was solidarity among pigs. Well, pigs can't get all together because they have to be bred a certain way. And they would say what how the soil should be. But the farmer on his farm knows what the soil is. And he'll work overtime on his farm to make a profit. But the communists didn't like profit. So they surrounded the Ukraine.
Mm.
And now this was in 1931.
Right.
Now, when they surrounded the Ukraine, they starved them. They starved 6 million Ukrainians to death.
Wow.
Men, women, children, didn't matter. They were torn into skeletons.
Mhm.
Now, and then what they did was they were clever. So you had a lot of anti-Semitism in that part of the world at one time, right? So, but the Russians wanted to hang the what was happening all over Russia with the KGB. So at one point they hired all the KGB guys were Jewish. 60% were Jewish, and those who controlled the concentration camps of the Russians, the gulags, of 19, 20 things, 19 were Jewish. Well, why do you do that? What he wanted to do was when the jig was up and they said, hey, you went too far. It wasn't me, it was the Jews.
The Jews, no?
Ah, see, that's how they work. They're Byzantinian. That's
Mhm.
very complicated. So anyway, go forward here. World War II happens, the Russians come in, the Germans come in, they fight over Ukraine. The Ukrainians go on both sides, but the Ukrainians are stuck in the middle. They got two psychopaths on either side. Okay. The war ends, Ukraine gets turns into, and the Russians mellow. They mellow a little, but they're not as, because once Stalin, the lunatic, is gone, but they're still oppressed. Okay. The Ukrainians want, they get a little independence and they want the Crimea, and they get the Crimea, but then Russia was so rotted from the way the commies and the Stalin killed everybody that the place fell apart in its own way. So then we come in, we do stupid things.
Right.
We had a drunk, right? What is it? Nelson, he's a drunk. And the whole place was corrupt, right? And then I saw Rachel Maddow was saying this is a great thing. And we said to the Ukrainians, give up your atomic missiles.
Mm.
So we said, and we'll do a deal with the Russians. They'll guarantee you, and then we'll guarantee you. Well, Putin came in there and he said, well, I don't do that was the drunk who made the deal. I will do what I want to do. So by that time, the Ukrainians had given up their missiles. Well, you know what happened? The Russians invaded twice. They invaded once and they took a whole bunch of chunk of Ukraine. They invaded twice, and we thought, hey, the Ukrainians won't last a week. But the Ukrainians with their Viking blood, with their Slavic blood, fought on for 3 long years.
That's true.
But the thing was, there was only so many Ukrainians. There were almost 200 million Russians and only 37 million Ukrainians. Do the math. How long could a small little country fight off a giant, outnumbered? And the Russians had atomic bombs and might use them. So, but we were like supplying the weapons to the Ukraine and promising them to be in NATO.
Mm.
But you can't do that. Even though Putin's a screw, you can't go and take a large punch of Russia. They won't accept it. Also, the thing is, the Europeans, for the most part, the blood that's spilled there, when it's spilled, it's American blood and American money. That's why they have all that social safety net in Europe, where they have the hospital and all this, right? Because they don't have to put it that much into the military.
Mm.
Now, this is the kicker. Half the money that was sent to the Ukraine, because the Ukrainians had been corrupted by the Russians, was going into people's pockets, into bank accounts. And I'm talking billions of dollars here.
Right.
And we're building up the Ukraine and we're saying, hey, we're going to do business here and small businesses. Meanwhile, people who are poor here are suffering. They get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They get a pity pot. And also the people who are suffering, a lot of times they're lower middle class, and they are the guys who do the soldiering.
Mm.
So there you go.
Mhm.
So now my terrorist friend, he's not really a terrorist,
Mhm.
he's getting an education here.
Yeah.
See, you don't know. So you know what happened with the Trumper? The Trumper is like going, okay, look, these deals aren't worth shit. Excuse the language. He said, we'll say we want the minerals in the Ukraine, right? That means that we have something tangible, the reason why we want a piece of the Ukraine. Now, the important thing to Trump, and they're saying he's a bad guy, he's saying people are dying, he wants peace. Sometimes you lose the war, the bad guy wins. The alternative is to let the Ukrainians finally bleed to death and die by the millions, and Russia still wins. See, what they were trying to do was weaken Russia by bleeding Russia. The Putin has proved to be a little more durable because Russians have a double standard. It's a kind of funny idea. I get to shoot you and blow you up and kill your children, but you cannot do anything to me.
Sure.
They have what you call a shithole. I don't understand it, but they're bad guys.
Right.
Not the Russian people. The Russians are individuals, very nice people, but there's a mentality there. There's a mentality there. The people who have guns, say my friend here wants to set up a small business in Russia, right?
Mm.
And he's doing a good job. He's because a lot of times communists do educate people. He sets up a business. I come to your business and I say, I want to 50% of your business. And you say, that's my business. You have an alternative. You lose half of 50% of your body or 50% of your business. if you're right, we can't. We just cut off your legs.
It's like a war right there.
Yeah, this is what I do.
Hmm. Huh?
And this is a story. You know what the Russians did? I heard a story.
What?
They had a guy. They were threatening a banker, right?
Mhm.
So they wanted to show how ruthless they were. So they dressed up a homeless man as a bank to look good, and they left his headless body in the banker's uh the place.
Wow,
And that would frighten you, wouldn't it? He's a tough guy.
that's scary.
That's scary. Those are scary people you're dealing with. You don't want your head cut off like a medieval situation.
That's
Well, he's shooken up, and this is a brave man.
scary.
See, nobody knows it. I tell people this, and they don't believe. Well, they do believe me, but they want to hear what they hear. Now, you have a situation with Zuzri, what's his name, the comedian who runs Clinton. He's fighting for Ukraine, and he has every right, and he's doing the right thing. But my Trumpy is fighting for America, and also the alternative is maybe the destruction of the whole world because the missiles are big, they radioactive, boom, 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 and it's all over for all of us. Now we did the same thing after World War II. We had the Russians and us fought the Germans, the Nazis, and the Japanese, and we beat them, but we had to deal with the Russian army. They took in half of Europe. It was sort of ironic because we fought the Germans to keep them from taking out over half of Europe, and it ends up the Russians having half of Europe.
Right.
So we did it before because once you have the atomic bombs, you have no choice.
Sure.
They could destroy them. Even he knows this. He's a Democrat. They're not right in the head. I try to convince him. Now I know you're saying, but Mr. Nostrovini, what'll happen to you with the Republicans are going to cut off all the your safety net? If if you look at all the 20 million new people in the country, that's the safety net collapses. There's only finite people.
Right.
Secondly, if the Trumpy loves to be loved. He's a billionaire. He has power. But what he really loves, is to say to an audience, loves him unconditionally. And if he starts cutting Social Security, you know what would happen to that love?
It's gone.
It's gone. Because either you love a Trumpy or you hate Trumpy. There's no middle ground. And then you have people who don't even know who the president is. Anyway, that's my diatribe about and a lot of people don't, they don't agree with me. Liberals to the right for me, liberals to the left of me, Democrats to the upside down. Democrats hiding from the rafters like bats. They're vampires. Anyway, that's my story. Yeah, we want to know anything else?
That's it. We gotta end it right there.
Well, what we could do, you could talk. What do you want to talk about? Subject? Wives, mothers, women.
Hmm. Let's see.
Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna see. This is our maiden voyage.
Let's see what's out there talking about.
I am no sports. Oh,
All sports. All
that's
exchange
that's
with
the
each other.
back. That's the back of the.
Hmm.
First game. That's about marijuana.
Oh, we can talk about this. So it says first class grass.
You know what this is?
Fancy junk. Charlie Fox summarized browser. Okay. Offer advice for customers like Alice Rana who wants to buy edibles or pre-rolls joint below or at high end settings. So sounds like they're trying to sell marijuana in high class
To rich people, rich
Yeah.
ex-hippies who are now rich but want their little marijuana.
but with a better higher
Yeah, class.
introduction.
Now, when he goes out for his blunts, and I imagine he does because he's a street fighting man, although he doesn't smell the marijuana. Did you ever do marijuana?
I was too young when I did it.
Oh, yes, too young. He was a boy. That's the bad thing about marijuana. I'm going to tell you why marijuana is bad.
Right.
But say we were drinking, and you drink your first drink,
Right.
and you smell the drink,
Mhm.
and you water in there and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But you're doing the marijuana. Can you tell if somebody's done the marijuana? There may be a little smell, but maybe not. And not enough that the teacher goes, "Hey, you drunk?" And you could do marijuana and your parents don't know about it. Your eyes are a little glazed, you're a little dull in the head.
Right.
And
How you supposed to know?
how are you supposed to know? Unless the guy is fermented in marijuana, you don't know. All you know is your kid's a little slower in school. And in a competitive society, you know what that means?
That means.
That means that your kid's going to fall behind the kids that don't do the marijuana. Say now, your perspective's changed like this.
Sure.
You have a child, right? It's coming into the world, a young girl, and he has another girl, and all in the world. And now when he was a kid, it was like I could do it and all that. And even as a young man, he was saying, "Que sera, sera." But if somebody gives his 12-year-old girl some marijuana, what will you do? You will be outraged.
Right.
All of a sudden, you'll be a conservative guy saying nothing. And in the meantime, the people who are ruling us are doing the high-end marijuana. Because you know what they said years ago? Oh, the drugs, the marijuana just makes you mellow. Or maybe at one time they did, but now they got the marijuana that makes you paranoid. And when you get paranoid, as I know, I've never done the marijuana, but I'm a little paranoid. Oh, good. Because you think of everything. You think, what is he doing? He's talking about me. I'm gonna have a fight. And then they put the hallucinogens, LSD into marijuana. And now you're flying about the countryside with the marijuana.
Right.
Now, every day, this man's going to have to worry about this. He'll be there going to school. He has no time for this. He's a commando. He's a security person. Now he's going to have to secure that school. That's why I understand he's going to be a vigilante. Not because he has told me, because I have the power of Nostrovini, logic, and also a good way to predict the future.
Right.
Don't think because I lost every goddamn fight I bet on this week, it was just a miscalculation. Because the world is corrupt. There was a lot of that was corruption. Oh. Now, you want to know what, we're going to see what's going to happen with Gene Hackman.
Right.
I'm going to miss him. Now, anything else you want to know?
Let's see, one more. There's one more thing.
Good. He did my face. He shaved me. And he did we just washed my hair. I got good hair. Most people my age, baldy beans. I look like Marilyn Monroe in the original Superman. He got paid a lot of money for that.
All right. That sounded interesting.
Let's
But Israel's under attack. Which one? We went to that already.
Well, that was that you want to do Israel? Because we haven't done really Israel. That's controversial, but we can do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it. This might not even see the light of day.
Might as well, yeah.
What the hell? I only have 3 followers.
All right. Israel's under attack. And the message was cut funds to anti-Semitic, which is a big word for everybody. But they're doing us a little fire for everybody. A raid. We're gonna do a raid for everybody, if you can see. A little raid.
No rain.
You see a little raid.
They had demonstrations. Now let me tell you something about the Israelis, about the Palestinians, about Hamas, and about college students. For 30 years, people have been talked about the communist thing of oppressed and oppressor. And also we're putting race into it. So they're putting the race into it. They're putting oppressor oppressed, and they're putting a situation where you have dumb college students because they have allied a lot of them. Some of them are gay, some of them are this, they're women, whatever. They've allied themselves with Hamas, who is a psychotic version of Islam. Islam is a harsh religion, as is very rigid. It's a very easy to corrupt, right? Because it was born in war. Okay. Now the thing is this: the people who are gay, women would be forced to wear burqas or be stoned if they lived in the Hamas world. The gays would be thrown off buildings. They are being thrown off buildings, but yet they're supporting in support of them.
Mhm.
Some of them don't believe it's happening, or just think because the Israelis have oppressed the Palestinians so long. Let me give you a little history lesson about the Palestinians.
Tell 'em.
I'll tell you.
It's a little strict, but tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'll tell
Yeah.
you. We got restricted a little bit here.
Yeah.
The Palestinians, they had a war, the Arab countries, with Israel, 1948.
Mhm.
The Israelis threw out most of the Arabs, but had a certain amount of Palestinians left, but a lot of Palestinians left. And it had everything a civil war has. Bloodbaths on both sides. The Israelis got rid of a lot of the Palestinians, and Israel was established as a Jewish state.
Mhm.
And most Jewish people they're white like me, right? But also they're dark because it's a religion and an ethnic group, okay?
Right.
So it's not straight up, a different race, right? Okay. And they thought by historical things and also because of the Bible that they're entitled because God gave, hey, I can't do God, very deep voice God has. He said, you have that land, okay? Now, the Palestinians, when they were thrown into Lebanon, they caused the civil war. When they were thrown into Jordan, they caused the civil war. They are very cantankerous people. And given they didn't accept their defeat by it was humiliating because the Arabs outnumbered the Israelis 2-1. More than that. But the Israelis were a lot of times they were combat veterans of World War II. So they were better and they had the mechanics, even though so they got beat. So this is what happened. They have a few laws in the meantime. In the meantime, right now, let's switch because I don't want to give you a whole history of the Middle East. But the thing was, what happened was this. They keep on saying that the Palestinians are genocide, the Israelis are being genocide against the Palestinians.
Mhm.
Not true. They may be oppressing. You know what genocide is? Genocide is when you kill a whole people,
Mhm.
every man and woman and child.
Mm.
Ethnic cleansing is generally when you kill people. What they want to do is remove them from around Israel because right now they're killing Israel. They had this terrible attack where they cut off babies' heads and they put them in ovens and all kinds of stuff that way. And that's why the Israelis went out of their minds. And they started bombing Gaza because that's where all the Palestinians are. The terrorists, the Hamas. So now these stupid, let me go my Italian side. These stupid college students are saying, hey, don't kill the Palestinians. You know, we did it in World War II. We bombed the crap out of the Japanese and Germans.
Mhm.
We leveled cities. This is like he's going to beat me up with a knife and a fork, and he's chopping into me, and I finally go and I hit him with a knife and a fork. Oh, yeah, I shouldn't do that. These people, let me tell you something. Trump is right in the way that all you have to do is you got to move them. And it's done before. You ever hear of Prussia? Prussia don't exist. It was the military part of Germany. They destroyed, they killed a lot of people. The Russians, they dissolved it and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Gaza, that's what's going to happen to Gaza. Or this thing is going to go by a merry-go-round.
Mhm.
And ask me a question. You want to ask me a question about it?
Mm.
He's overwhelmed with information.
Too much, but makes sense though.
No, because what if
Hmm.
somebody was what if my neighbor Joe was like every so often he tried to stab you?
Right.
You'd stab him back after a while. He would say, hey, you shouldn't do that to Joe.
I'm trying to get him where he doesn't want it, but
Right.
that's the issue.
Now, a lot of people, a lot,
Yeah.
yeah, all right,
All right.
thank you. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they have we're held to a higher moral standard, right?
Mhm.
And so we're supposed to fight with Marcus to Queensberry. Me and the other guy's trying to poke your eyes out, stick his knee until your brain goes into your brain.
Mm.
So eventually people get tired of this.
Mhm.
And then they go to the other extreme. Okay, hey, let's fight all the way, kill everybody.
Mhm.
We're at that state where we're fighting them, we're draining them the right way. You know what Trump wants to do with all these terrorists and all that stuff? You're welcome. What he wants to do is basically take out the money thing, because with the military industrial complex, there are a lot of people, they want constant wars because they make a lot of money doing it. It's like a game. All the generals want to do this, all the military people. And you know who dies and who suffers? The average soldier who gets crippled and all that stuff. And they'll go on forever. You have your and the thing is, what you have to do is you have to go all out. And when I say all out, not kill every goddamn Iranian, but you blast up their oil fields and you destroy all their military. And if they do anything, you bomb them or you destroy them and you kill the leadership. That's the only way to take care of the situation. Because say I'm isolating Iran as opposed to what's happening in Gaza, because a lot of Iranians don't want to live under these maniacs. But they got no choice because they're average people. They don't have the guns, and also, it's hard to deal. There's the mafia. Let's say the mafia is a small organization, or the Ku Klux Klan, or Antifa, or any of these organizations. They're small relative to the population. But say I make this video here about this, right? I might have one of these maniacs come to my house, and he's not going to be there. It'll just be me and me. And it's a good thing I have multiple personality disorder, because they think I'm alone. I got a dozen people here. I got Nostrovini. I got Vince. I got Gotcha. Vinny Gotcha. That's at least 3.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. They won't see me coming. My invisible friends. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
This is the maiden voyage. It probably won't see the light of day, but we're gonna watch it and see what happens. Okay, that's cool. All you need is friends. Lots and lots of friends. They may all look like they belong to Hamas, of course.